Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into your non-league hour, the Talking Non-League, the first live show, and we are buzzing this morning, Thomas, aren't we?
We are indeed, yeah. Non-league's back.
The season is back. The season is back. How excitingly brilliant. Some good results yesterday, but first of all, how has your week been?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. It's been
not too bad.
Short week, obviously, because
bank holiday.
But yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. So we had FA Cup midweek. We had league action this week. Lots to get through. We've got Debenham manager coming on this morning, correct?
Yes, hopefully.
Looking forward to that. Leah Simmons from Thetford Town is hopefully going to be joining us this morning as well. So a jam-packed show. Really looking forward to it. Comment section's already going off. You can, of course, yes, Ben, some interesting results. You can, of course, join us on the show. If you just want to ask for a link, got a non-league opinion, a non-league fact, a non-league voice, whatever. We want to hear from you. Oh, that says the championship. We just changed that to non-league. There we go. And of course, you can get involved in the chat box. But let's kick things off with some Thurlow Nunn results before we jump to the man, the myth, the legend that is Leah Simmons. Thurlow Nunn, First Division North. Debenham LC 0, Fakenham Town 2. Haverhill Borough 0, Downham Town 1. Ipswich Wanderers 2, Mulbarton Wanderers 1. Kings Lynn Town 0, Framlingham Town 1. Thomas will be very happy about that one. Leiston Reserves 2, Diss Town 1. Marchtown United 2, Great Yarmouth Town 1. Norwich CBS 1, Cornard United 2. Sheringham 1, Lakenheath 2. Wisbech St Mary 2, Needham Market Reserves 6. First Division South. Brimston 3, Harwich and Parkston 2. Burnham Ramblers 0, Warmley Rovers 1. Cockleshall United 1, Newbury Forest 1. Frenford 3, Holland 0. Hackney Wick 2, Benfleet 2. Half-time 1-1. Housestead Town 1, Athletic Newman 1. Little Oakley 2, Barkingside 1. White Ensign 3, Wivenhoe Town 0. Thurlow Nunn Premier. FC Clacton 3, Haverhill Rovers 0. Hadley United 0, Kirkley and Pakefield 1. Long Melford 3, Norwich United 4. Stanway Rovers 0, Ely City 0. Stowmarket Town 1, Goulston 0. Swaffham Town 1, Grantham Athletic 3. Whitton United 3, Thetford Town 1. An early look at the Thurlow Nunn Premier Division sees FC Clacton race out ahead up top, 3 points from their first game. Grantham Athletic in second. Whitton United, after a fantastic 3-1 win, sit in third. Haverhill Rovers, Thetford Town and Swaffham Town all make up the bottom three. But it's week 1, so it's far too early to be looking at a league table. But hey, I've got to fill some time. On to the First Division North. Needham Market Reserves currently lead that division. Fakenham Town and Cornwall United are the other top 3 sides. Ipswich Wanderers, after a fantastic leaflet promotion in the recent coming weeks, sitting 4th. Wisbech St Mary and Debenham LC currently make up the bottom 2. But again, it's week 1, so nothing to get too upset about at the moment. And to round off, First Division South, Frenford, White Ensign and Brimston all make up the top 3, as do Little Oakley, Wormley Rovers and Benfleet sit in 6th, Wivenhoe Town in 17th and Holland in 16th. And there we go. So some good results there. We've got our friends from Thetford on, who sadly didn't kick things off with a win. Leah, welcome in, my friend. How are you?
Good
Thanks
morning.
for joining us.
How are you guys? How are you?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you. More importantly, wow, where are you? It looks incredibly sunny where you are.
Well, it's actually in Ipswich. Actually, we're actually at Jimmy's farm because I'm running a business this morning. Do Battlefield Live, which is laser tag. So we've got a group of 26 people already joining today. So the sign is out. Hang on, I'll show you. So it's all sunny here.
Wow, brilliant. Laser tag. Love laser tag. So obviously Thetford yesterday didn't get off to the greatest of starts. Talk us through, from your point of view, the Thetford point of view, yesterday's game.
Well, for the first 10 minutes, I think we were 2-0 down, which is a bit bit disappointed after we've had a great start in the FA Cup against Wellingborough when we won 2-0 on Tuesday night. It was a little bit disappointing for our point of view. Then we got back into the game 2-1, and then unfortunately we lost 3-1 at the end of the game. But good credit to Whitton United. They played well, and of course they did win in the FA Cup on Tuesday night as well. So fair play to them. But we've got another tough game coming up on Tuesday night against Ely City. So I look forward to going back to that game for the next game, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you mentioned Whitton there. Ben Moore in our chat says Whitton looking strong already with some great signings. So
yeah,
they're going to be a team this year, aren't they?
Definitely. They're going to be. I think all teams are going to got a point to prove anyway. From the first team who was Stowmarket Town last season, and of course then you had Goulston, who done a pretty good job against Stowmarket yesterday, only losing by that goal 1-0 loss on yesterday. So every person, every club have got a point to prove.
Absolutely. But if obviously outside of, Stowmarket are seen as the big hitters in the division. I think that's unfair to say. But outside of Stowmarket, who have you got your eye on? Who do you feel is going to be that, really challenging them?
I would say us, but
good. Do it.
I would say us, but the people who I'm most looking forward to is Goulston, who, as I say, got a point to prove. They've done pretty well in the last 3 months with the pre-season coming on, and then of course the lockdown happened. So as I say, have to watch out for them. Stanway Rovers, Newmarket Town.
Yeah.
We've also got Norwich United as well. So got Manchester Rovers. All teams are going to be looking to bounce back.
It's a really tough competitive league this year, isn't it? As you say, a lot of teams are going to be really fighting it out, and maybe Stowmarket won't have it all their own way.
No, definitely not. I know they've sold a few players, and of course players have come in, but it's all good. Everyone's going to be looking at Stowmarket with the attendances what they've had last season. Of course, they had a good one yesterday as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be a massive game again. I think.
Listen to the reporter. The Ipswich report at half time. Brent, they were saying then that Goulston gave them a good game though. I think it was easy for them.
Yeah.
So, I don't think they're going to find it easy this year.
No, definitely not. Especially when I think most of the teams know how they play, and of course we've got them in a couple of weeks as well. We're up at Montford Road. I think it's the 19th of September. We're playing them at home, so it's going to be a good. The sun's in my eyes. It's going to be good to see what happens really in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and if you had to say for Thetford, if I had to, ask you to nail your colours to the mast, what are you saying for Thetford? Did you? What would you view a good season being?
I would say a top 6 finish will be good for us because we finished 16th last season. Of course, we were in the Norfolk Cup final the season before that when we lost to Dereham Town. I think we need to. I think we've got a good chance to get into the top 6. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is your chance to plug your next game, Lee.
So I'm actually going to be in the next game, which is going to be Tuesday night. We're going to be playing Ely City, 7:45 away from home. So catch us there, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck with the laser tag this morning.
Cheers. And this afternoon, we've got another session later on.
And we expect an invite in the post, don't we, Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah, no worries. Just give me a shout when you're free.
Anytime for laser tag. Cheers, boy. Look after yourself.
Take to you guys. Thanks very much.
Take care. Good morning, Neil. I hope you're well. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Daniel. Thank you for tuning in. Daniel, let us know how you guys got on this week. I kind of know, but I want you to tell us as well. But the guests don't stop coming here, Thomas.
No.
The guests do not stop coming. You've arranged somebody very special. So I'll let you introduce them, and I'll let you lead that one.
Okay, cool. So we've got the Devon manager, Guy Hayes, coming in.
And there he is. As voila.
Hello,
over to you.
Morning, gents. How are you?
Not too bad yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, although obviously not the result yesterday that we wanted.
No. I will get back to that. It was just quickly, just give us a brief history about yourself in non-league before we...
I'm entering my 10th season. I've worked up from the bottom league. It was SIL Division 6 at the time. Obviously, they've lost a couple of divisions since then. But yeah, from SIL Division 6, went through the leagues with a couple of different clubs. And then sort of senior level, was first team coach at Stowmarket for a little while, left there, was at another club or so in SIL, and then went to Team Bury, which are no longer around at the moment, but they're effectively Bury Town reserves in the Thurlow Nunn 1. And then from there, had a bit of time out, joined Ipswich Athletic for a little while in the SIL, and then went over to Denham.
All right, yeah. So eventful career so far.
Yeah. Obviously, I found at the moment I'm really enjoying it with Debenham. It's a really good club on and off the pitch. So yeah, I had a few clubs early on maybe, whereas now I think I've found sort of stability that that I enjoy, as well as I find challenging.
Yeah. I'm sure that the past 5 months have been quite challenging as well. So what are your thoughts on the end of last season, and how has your pre-season been?
It's been a strange one. We probably finished the season quite well. We beat Lakenheath and Sheringham, who are sort of top sides in our league, both away from home. Yeah. I think it was 9th or 10th. Sheringham were top half, and Lakenheath I think were top 4. So to beat both of them, I thought bodes well. And obviously, sort of the season, finishing as it did was a shame for us in terms of form. But it's one of those things out of our control. Over pre-season, we had a few players leave. There's some maybe that we needed to change. There's a couple maybe that we would have wanted to keep. But yeah, so we're freshening things up, got a few new players in, and the morale's good. Although obviously yesterday apart in terms of the squad we've assembled, it's a squad that we feel that will do well. And we had a good pre-season, and it's putting that into the league campaign now. Yeah.
You lost Marcus, didn't you? Marcus Taylor.
Yeah, he was probably one of them that we wanted to keep, to be honest. It's a shame, Cranes have got a very good player there. I'm not ashamed to admit that, we wanted to keep him. But, it's one of those things. He had his reasons. It's difficult. But, he's somebody I'm sure who, when he feels it's right for him personally, I think he will look to probably go back to Thurlow num. 1, if not Premier, in my opinion. He's a very good player. But, I'm sure that'll be on his own accord as and when he wants to.
I work with Marcus, so I can push him back to you if you want.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I'm sure he'll have a good season at Cranes. But like I say, he's someone who, if he chooses to, some players like to think they can play higher or 2 leagues above or whatever, but possibly can't. Whereas Marcus knows he can as and when he wants to, really, with a number of clubs would want him.
Yeah. So yesterday you lost 2-0 to Fakenham, but how was it? What were your thoughts on it?
Frustrating is probably the key word. First half, we mentally weren't at it. I thought we were quite mentally weak. Fakenham were up for it, very direct, very physical. We didn't really get to grips with the game at all. One positive is maybe last year we might have come in at half-time 2 or 3-0 down instead of 1-0. So it's a slight positive on that to an extent where at least we sort of dug in. Second half, I thought we were a lot better. We lacked a cutting edge at times, but we had a lot of pressure, a lot more of the ball. We kind of flipped the script a little bit and actually got control of the game and conceded the second goal in the in stoppage time, second half. So it's pleasing to have a better performance second half, but there's a lot to work on because the first half is as bad as we've been in the last sort of year or so, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And then sort of going back onto the league, Wanderers beat Mulbarton yesterday, who were top when it was null and void. So how do you think the season will go? Who's like the top contenders? Yeah,
well, Mulbarton and Wanderers already, I think people could say it before the season started, are definitely contenders up there. Mulbarton have just got players who, from leagues above who have come down from the Deerhams or play a lot of Norfolk clubs up that way. Obviously, Ipswich Wanderers have signed Matt Blake and a few other players in there. So obviously, straight away, if you've got somebody with Matt Blake who's played for Leicester first team consistently, it puts a target on their backs a little bit, as does with March as well. They're a little bit out of the way compared to the sort of Suffolk and Norfolk clubs where they're based near Peterborough, but March Town will probably be a top 4 contender, as will probably Lakenheath. They had a good season last year.
Yeah. And in regards to the season as well, there's been a few games called off already because of COVID. Before winter kicks in, can that create a backlog of games? Is that a bit worrying?
Yeah, possibly. It'll be interesting to see how the league deal with it. I'm not sure yet if they've announced whether the 2 League Cup competitions are going to go ahead or not. I imagine they probably will they'll probably try and have them. We've got the county cups confirmed, but yeah, as you say, it'll be interesting with clubs if they can't with COVID and stuff. If they've got a player who's been tested or has been tested positive, that could create backlog of games. But hopefully, if they get enough games played midweek early on in the season up until Christmas, I personally think it'd be sensible to do as many midweek games as they can.
Yeah.
And if all goes well, then we just obviously have less midweek games near the end of the season, which is not a problem, especially with injuries mounting up on harder pitches as it firms up again towards the end of the season. I don't think that would be a bad thing personally if we get the midweek games done as much as possible early in the season.
Yeah. Oh, mic's off, Martin.
I was just going to ask. Do you think sometimes the league can be a little bit inflexible with movement of games? Do you think they've got a template and they stick to it?
Possibly. I know they're quite flexible now with clubs if they want to move a game to a Friday night, to attract more spectators and things like that. They've kind of said, if you agree it between both teams, then, just let us know. But yeah, in terms of actual maybe a say on or suggesting in terms of how many midweek games we played early in the season, I don't think they really put that out to clubs. They did it about if the season gets called off early again, what do clubs want to do? We all made a suggestion, I believe. But in terms of flexibility with fixtures, they could have maybe touched base with clubs and said, look, are you happy to play more midweek games early on, or do you want to do it as normal? But they've got a hard job. I think that they've been waiting because obviously the FA call the shots and they tell every Step 5 and 6 league around the country what they can and can't do. So they've kind of got their hands tied a little bit. But yeah, it'd be nice if they maybe consult the clubs a little bit more with in terms of midweek games. We're trying to get 70-80% of games is played as quick as possible. So then if it's finished early, then if clubs have agreed it, then we may have something to finish on rather than null and void it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I just know when I was in charge of a team, if I knew I had a few players that weren't going to be playing for a couple of weeks, I was on the phone to the fixture secretary every single time. He had me on speed dial at the end of it, and I was saying, "Come on, let me move this game, let me sort this out, let me do that." I was his best friend at one point. But sorry, go on.
It's difficult. I think at the start of the season they give you 3 or 4 dates you can block out, but
yes.
Other than the odd date, you're not normally going to know, right, actually, I've got 5 or 6 away. Normally, at like a festival to start the season, especially with younger sides, I'd imagine the reserve sides in our league, when they've got a load of them at festivals and stuff like that, obviously they wouldn't have happened this year. But, those kind of occasions, you might know, but you might not know until a month before, something like that. But, yeah, it can be difficult. But, yeah, it's just one of those things we have to kind of get on with.
It is. And obviously at the start of the year, I don't know about yourselves, but I always found I had a bloated squad somewhat. So I had more, before the wet weather and it was October, cold Sunday, Saturday mornings, people wanted to play football in this weather outside today. They didn't want to play when it was howling or gusting. Yeah. So I always had a larger squad. Guy, just Dan Snell, friend of the show there, March Town for the league this year. They finished 4th last term. Do you see March have improved enough?
Yeah. I think they recruited a player from Down, and whether that was just before lockdown or during pre-season. But yeah, they've got some good players there. They've got I think it's Jack Trent. He's a good player. Was at Wisbech for a little while, but he was released from Peterborough a few years. He's a very good player. Like I said, they've signed a lad from Down, and they've got some good players. I think they've got Gillies as well, who scored quite a few goals. But we never played them home or away last year, and literally I think it was a day or 2 days before we were due to travel to March, it all got called off because of COVID. So yeah, we never actually got to play them. But from what I've seen, whether it's clips or from opposition managers, they had a good season last year, and it sounds like they're really trying to kick on again this year. So I'd imagine that they'll be a top 4 contender still.
Definitely. And also good to hear Newmarket and Wroxham players tested negative. And then Daniel Barnard comes in and asks, do you think if players have tested positive for COVID, should the whole club not play or still allow reserves and 18 to play? And by the way, it's not our club. No. What are your thoughts on Daniel's comment there?
I think it's difficult because you've got to set a rule out. You can't do it, club by club basis on something where it's in terms of health. When it's a serious matter, it's difficult. But because again, if you did it on a club-by-club basis, you could say some clubs reserves don't train with the first team, so they are separate. They haven't come into contact with each other. But there's some clubs they do mix together. But I think the FA would probably get more problems if they did it on a club-by-club basis. If they said, "Oh, if you don't train together, that's fine." I think you've kind of got to set one rule out, whether you agree with it or not. It's a little, it's kind of like the changing rooms issues and things like that. Whether you like it or not, there's many reasons to disagree with it, but you just kind of have to go, right, okay, we'll get on with it the best we can. So yeah, I'd probably say if a club, has been tested for, positive, then you'd have to say, with senior setups, 18s reserves first team that they can't play. But it's not my call to make, I suppose. No,
and I suppose it's one of those things you say, well, not my call. It's like, it's like being an aunt to your uncle. You just hand it back and say, nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. You're just crying. You sort it. So obviously in the summer, a few coaching changes at Debenham. You brought Alex in. What was the thinking behind bringing Alex in, and what's it like working with Alex?
In terms of the thinking behind it, I was advertising. I've got Kevin Barker in, who's been at the club for years, who still plays. So he was a player assistant, but he played a lot of games last year and has done a pre-season and yesterday. So again, on terms of on the touchline and discussing things and training, because Kevin Barker's a player as well. We needed an extra bit of support in there. So I'd advertised, we had a few people apply, and we kind of got it down. I got it down to the last couple of people that I wanted to sort of speak to again a bit more. And then Alex sort of contacted quite late on into it, when I was sort of close to agreeing what I wanted to do, and said he was looking to be leaving Felixstowe for his own reasons, and, am I looking for someone? So, we spoke about that, and the positive, I think, with Alex is that he knows the league. He's been working with Felixstowe reserves for the last 2 or 3 years, so he knows the opposition teams in particular. So although teams can change with managers and players, but a lot of clubs, especially the reserve sides and things like that, how they're going to play, even if players have changed, and I think that's important. Whereas I think if you get somebody who maybe doesn't know the league initially, it's not a bad thing, but maybe you can't have that as a support. Whereas I think Alex knows that, and Alex has done really well. He's really a very busy bloke, but in the best way possible. He's always available on the phone, or if I'm not texting him, he's texting me. We talked about recruitment for players. He's been quite big on bringing a couple of those 2 lads in that he'd already sort of spoke to previously as a manager at Felixstowe. So he helped bring 2 of the lads in himself. And yeah, it's been a great support. The boys have loved it. He's freshened up. He's changed the warm-ups. Been very good with that kind of thing. He likes to be very organised, which is exactly how I work. So yeah, so far he's been brilliant.
Marriage made in heaven, it sounds like. And I noticed from the website you're in the Ipswich Museum. Can you just what's that? What? Sorry.
The interesting facts. Yeah. So there's a picture of me in the Ipswich Museum, and the people of Ipswich in the Ipswich Museum is upstairs. I know where it is, funny enough, because my kids went there a couple of years ago to see it.
Yeah. You visit it regularly, it sounds like.
Yeah, I do it most weeks. But there's a picture of me. The people of Ipswich is me. There's a picture of me as I think I was about 7 or 8 years old. So yeah, it's just interesting fact, I suppose, for the match programme. We had to give something, and it's slightly more interesting than some of the other players put, but it's not particularly interesting, I suppose.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Interesting enough that I thought I've got to ask that. I've got to ask why and where he may be. So, what's from your point of view as manager? What does a good season for you guys look like this year? What's your objectives?
I think we've got to look on and be realistic. We've got to push on again this year. I think points per game we would have finished about 7th, which would have been a good finish for us. We've probably got one of the lowest budgets in the league. There's a lot of big clubs this year who are paying a lot of money, despite all the COVID implications. People are advertising that's struggling and things like that. It's very interesting. A lot of it's rumours. Most clubs will deny things, I'm sure, and the players exaggerate what they are or not.
Yes, definitely.
But, take it with a pinch of salt, I suppose. But there's a lot of money being thrown around in our league this year, Step 6, which I was quite surprised about with everything going on. But for ourselves, we know we're competing with a lot of sort of big clubs and big spenders, so to speak, and we've got to look to improve on that. And from us, it's competing with the top 4 sides. I think Fakenham before yesterday, and even obviously based on yesterday's result as well. They're a club that are targeting top 4. So again, it's competing with those clubs and getting performances and results to match that, and to try and compete with the top 4 sides and trying to get ourselves as close as we can to that. And we said it last year, it's the same for this year. We want to do well in the cup competition. So hopefully the League Cup will still be running this year. And obviously the Senior Cup draw was announced yesterday. So again, that's something, as a club we've got to try and do. We've never won the Senior Cup before as a club. So, that's something where it'd be, for this group of players, they'd be making history for the club to actually go and win that silverware. So that's something we're targeting as a club.
Yeah, certainly so. And Ben's got a really interesting question. I'll put on the screen in a second. But before I do, he starts off by saying most teams always have a style of play. Now, if no one has ever seen your team play, Guy, how would you describe your team's style of play?
I think the big thing for me is it being adaptable. Whether it's our first team 11 available that game, the opposition, or the pitch or weather conditions. I think for me, I think a lot of clubs are very much right. It has to be this way. But if you're playing some of the pitches you play on over Christmas away from home, or even at home at times potentially, it can not suit certain styles of football. So there's no right or wrong way. For me, it's about being adaptable. But I'd say the key fundamentals for every game is that we press well as a unit from front to back, being organised and trying to get players forward in the penalty area. This year, something that we maybe didn't. We maybe relied counter-attacking football at times where you'd have 1 or 2 on the breakaway, whereas now we want to try and be controlled and actually get our midfielders and our fullbacks to join in where possible. So it might not be the England DNA that everybody talks about from, having to play this system and this style of play. But the key fundamentals is the way we're organised and the way we press as a team. And we did that very well in pre-season, in my opinion. In most of the games, we looked organised and we looked like we had intent out of possession to win the ball back, but in a controlled manner. That was what was frustrating about yesterday, is that we didn't show that for the first half. We didn't show our identity, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough question to ask managers. So I do apologise. Whenever I was asked it was always just winning football, like whatever wins. And I think you're kind of on the long line there, on the same sort of lines there. You want to be adaptable to certain situations, certain scenarios, and you can't be too rigid in your approach because it's football. It's not. It's not a manual, is it? It's not like textbook stuff sometimes. This
is it, exactly. It's about results. Development football is what we do, I do youth coaching and things like that about, trying to develop players. And it's still about that, but it's developing to win games. And, if the opposition's left back's having a terrible game because the ball keeps going behind him and it works, you're not going to say, no, we're playing 10-yard passes all game.
Yeah.
If it works and it gets you goals, you've got to do it, in my opinion. So, again, likewise, if that's not working, it's about being adaptable and go, okay, well, we're able to do something different. We know we can come inside and play inside and things like that. So, yeah, for me, I think a lot of people, especially on social media, like to big themselves up as a team and as individuals about the way they play. But when kickoff goes, a lot of clubs are quite similar. They have what they want to do, but if something's working, you'd be stupid not to exploit a weakness in the other team or strengthen your side. So, yeah, for me, it's not about making out that we're this, that, and the other. It's about, what we can do that game to win. Obviously, training prepares us for that, but things change in a game. We had to change a little bit second half to match the strength of the opposition, and we started to do that, but it didn't get us the result we wanted.
No, well, it's only week 1. Go on, Thomas.
I was going to go different point. It's like Henley the other night. I saw on Twitter they were 1-0 down after half an hour, changed formation, won at 3-1. So it's what everyone has to know.
It's interesting because Henley. I couldn't go to the game. It was a Friday night, but Henley Copstone has typically play lovely, good, pretty football. I don't know. They may have done that, but if they changed formation, did they also change? The way they played. I don't know. I wasn't there, but if they went more direct and scored 3 goals from it, then that's not the wrong way to play football. That's the right way for that game. So I'm not saying they did that, but if they did and it got a result, then I don't think anyone's got a problem with it. But because it's not the be all and end all on social media about how they play football nowadays.
So they won at the end of the day. That's all that matters, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was speaking to a leading non-league coach, and he called them the Twitter Pep Guardiolas. Because everybody's a Twitter Pep, wants to play this pressing, 2-touch, it's got to be magnificent. But at the end of the day, it's sitting here on a Sunday morning and saying, I've got 3 points yesterday. And when you don't, it's back to the drawing board and you go again. And just to finish Ben Moore's original question, do you need to bring a certain player in that work, or players that can play a certain style, or do you just want overall good players? How does that approach work at non-league level?
Again, I think it's every club's different, every manager's different. From my side, I try to be adaptable myself in terms of it depends on the group of players we can recruit and obviously gel together for the way we play. There's no point going, right, we're going to play out from the back through the third, patient football, 30, 40 passes, if you haven't got the players to do it. Or likewise, actually, we can play more this year because we've got the players technically from at the back to be able to carry the ball out from defence and be calm and composed on the ball. So, again, it's a little bit of both, I'd say. It's about who you recruit in to fit that style. But likewise, I think some people like to be, right, this is how we're going to play. But if you don't get those players because you've got bigger clubs in the area who can offer them a better standard of football or more money, whatever it is, then you've kind of got to go, okay, well, that's what we had to do last year. We didn't have probably the quality in a couple of positions that I would have liked personally. So we had to find a different way of trying to score goals. And this year we're now doing it slightly different because we've got a few different players in who can allow us to play a different way. Yeah.
Daniel Barnard giving you some love here. I worked under Guy under Athletic, where I was reserves manager, and his attitude and desire to win is incredible, and I learned a lot going on with me at Claydon. So Daniel Barnard giving you some love there, Guy. And Dan Snell, Henry looked decent on Friday, game over at 2-0. Well, as Thomas said, after half an hour it was 2-0. As a manager, you stood on the sidelines, you've put all the preparation in, you've given the team their instructions, and then it all goes wrong inside half an hour and you're 2-0 down. What do you do stood on that sideline? What goes through your mind? Talk us through your thought process.
I think it's knowing your players. I think sometimes it's easy to shout and rave at players to get a reaction, but I think if you do that every week, it's not going to get a reaction or a positive reaction. There's knowing your players. Some individuals you can call out at half time and they will raise their game. Some players will go in their shells if you do that. So they might need a quiet one-to-one while everyone's having a drink or whatever to get their head right and to do the right thing. So again, it depends on each group of players. Some group of players, you can, as a group, you can address them vocally and tell them some home truth. Some players can't take it, rightly or wrongly, whether they should do or not. As adults, some players personalities aren't like that, and you've got to. And that's something I've tried to learn this year, and obviously, which having the support of Alex to take care of more things in the warm-ups and things like that, I can hopefully try and address people in what their individual needs are. Again, it's probably frustrating as a manager if you 2-0 down or whatever, you've done your pre-season, similar to ourselves at the end result. But it's about getting out of that bad patch and how can you turn it around in the second half.
Yeah. And to round up, because I understand it's your Sunday morning and you want to spend some time with your family, I've got no doubt. Obviously, you've got a game on, is it Tuesday? I'm trying to look at the fixture list now. When's your next game?
Tuesday after.
There we go. Quick plug for you. Who are you playing and where is it?
Downham away. So not a very attractive visit as a location and I'm afraid.
Yeah. Any predictions for it? Are you going to give us any insight?
We're making a couple of changes. We don't, just from one bad result, we can't rip it all up and start again. We've worked on things in the pre-season, but we've got a couple of changes to the 11 and on the bench as well for Plan B if things aren't working. It's a difficult one. You don't know until the first sort of 5 games are done, really, where we're at and where oppositions are at. If Fakenham go and win the next 5 games in a row, we know they're a good side. If they lose the next 5, then all of a sudden it makes the loss yesterday even worse. So, again, we're just concentrating on ourselves mainly for the next few games before we start looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're spot on with that. And some results can look great in May when you look back, and some results can look absolutely awful when you look back. And you think, how on earth did we slip up on that one? But we thank you for your time, guys. It's been a real pleasure. And hope to have you on through the season. We can discuss your process, your progress, and track how you're getting on.
Yeah, cheers, gents. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Cheers, Guy. We'll jump into the SIL results, and then when we come back, we'll have a discussion about the SIL. Is that right, Thomas?
Yes.
Perfect. SIL Senior Division. Achilles FC 1, Hawley United 1, Bilderston Rangers 0, Howsworth Town 2, Claydon FC 0, Trimley Red Devils 1, Crane Sports 6, East Bergholt 2, Leyston St Margaret's 0, Benall St Mary 3, Old Newton United 0, Ranson Sports 3, Westerfield United 3, Bourne Vale 1, Copplestonians 1, Henley Athletic 3. So an early look at the league table after week 1, and it's only week 1, and you can't draw too much from it. I mean, as a manager, I never looked at it until at least 7 or 8 games in, but fans of SIL will be used to seeing one name atop of the league table, and that name is back atop of the league table, and that is Crane Sports, sitting in first place, 3 points, 4 goal difference after a 6-2 win over East Bergholt. Old Newton, last year's surprise package, disappointing opening day for them, but I'm sure Macca will pick the team up and they'll go again. Trinity Red Devils currently sitting in 7th after a great win, and of course Westerfield United getting their first win against Bourne Vale after a really disappointing year and summer of transformation under manager Adam Potter. So great to see them off to a great start. But as I say, week 1, plenty of football left to be played. In fact, it's still beautifully sunny and there's still leaves in the tree. Back to the studio. Back to me. I love that bloke's voice is silkily smooth, Thomas. So I loved the interview with Guy there. Really honest. Great guy. And Daniel, full of love for Guy. And I think that speaks volumes, don't you, when people that have worked or played under somebody.
Yeah, it shows good signs towards, could go a good way, a long way, hopefully.
And it sounds like the partnership between him and Alex is what was what was needed. So from what I could pick up, it allows Guy to be more of a hands-on man manager, if you like. And Alex can take care of the the cones and the bibs and really train the guys and drill them in, what he wants. I'm looking forward to seeing how Debenham progress. But moving on to SIL, as Dan Snell says, friend of the show. Dan, if you want to come on and discuss what you saw at Henley, we'd be more than welcome to hear it. Obviously, me and Thomas weren't at the game, but first SIL game in about 3 years on Friday. Pleasantly surprised with the standard and some good results in that first week, Thomas.
I mentioned, I just had a quick look. I mentioned Marcus to Guy, and he scored 2 yesterday for Cranes.
Did he really?
Yeah, Dion Leggett
let's talk about Cranes. Obviously, as I said in the piece, they're a team that we're used to seeing at the top of the SIL, back top again.
Yeah,
they don't hang around, do they, at Cranes?
No, definitely not. No, I think they'd be higher, wasn't it, if they had the ground and somewhere, the facilities. They'd be in the Thurlow Nunn.
Yeah, without a doubt. They play some really good stuff as well, don't they?
Yeah, so it's a shame that they can't go higher, really. But I guess it's just what it is. And in a way, I guess they're making players as well to go up higher. I mean, like the guy was saying, I'm sure Marcus will go back up at some point. And there's, there's my Mo File there who scored, he scored in every pre-season game that I've, I think that they've got some good players there. So.
Yeah, for sure. And it's no surprise to see them, like I say, back at top of the table. Any other results sort of stand out for you there?
Well, we've got to mention Westerfield, really, haven't we? After having Adam on last week.
Really have Westerfield, yes, brilliant result, right?
Nice to see him with plus points as well, and not on -1, and to get off with a good, good first game of the season to get a win. What he's done in pre-season seems to be working.
I told you, Thomas, that he would have those boys running through walls for him.
Yeah, when we had him on there last week, the passion, you can just sense it. I don't know where they'll finish, but I don't think they'll be bottom. Definitely not. I think they'll do.
No. Well, Bourne Vale last year themselves had an okay season. I think if they're honest, they'd want more for themselves as well, finishing mid-table. But Westerfield were, and I don't think Adam or the guys at Westerfield will dislike me for saying this, but they were the worst of the worst. So to see them, and as I said in the piece, it's a summer of transformation. Obviously, recruitment was tricky, but not impossible, and that's a great win. That will help morale and confidence no end.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Trinity Red Devil, Claydon. Talk to me about that one.
Again.
Well, again. You just killed him there.
I wonder if he's watching us.
Well, if he is, he might be coming on in a minute.
Maybe. I know he had a bit of a Twitter spat with Achilles during the week. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't. I lie. I go PC. I did. I just don't want to get involved.
I know do I, but I know I saw it.
I saw nothing.
I've got to mention him.
I know nothing. But Claydon have come into this season, and Daniel Barnard, hopefully still knocking around the chat, will talk to us about this, with great expectation. Now, with great expectation, the saying goes, comes great responsibility, but also comes either a disappointment or jubilation. Trinity Red Devils last year inside the bottom 4. So this would have been a game they would have been looking at, you would have thought, to kick off their season. Now, it's only week 1. It means nothing, really. Let's face it. But they'll be disappointed, won't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. When Glyn come on as well, he was saying they're hoping to push for the top. So, but to lose the first game, it's not going to do good for the confidence, is it? So they'll be looking to bounce back next week.
Daniel Barnard, no comment. That is not like you, Daniel. That is not like you, my friend. I do not like this no comment. Ben Moore, a few dark horses in that league. There certainly are. They really are.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I want to be a bit. I want to go a bit homerish here and say Trinity Red Devils.
Yeah.
Because they're my home team.
And Benwell as well. Benwell have always been sort of fairly standard, to be fair to them. So yeah. But I'm looking more because I know you love Framingham because they're your home team. But I'm obviously looking at in this league. I'm looking at TRD because they are my home team. I'm from Trimley, born and raised on a playground. That's where I spent most of my days. And I'd really love to see Trimley do well this year. And Daniel Barnard giving credit to Trimley themselves that they played really well. They're a good team, Trimley. It's about consistency. Who else stands out in that division for you, Thomas? I guess Henley. They sound like they.
Yeah, for sure. Now, talk to me as we bring it up to a close. Not in the next 5-10 minutes. Talk to me about midweek because didn't you go out and about?
I did. I went to Woodbridge, who unfortunately didn't have a game yesterday because of the virus. But yeah,
they didn't.
But yeah, I went to Woodbridge. Really good game, to be fair. I didn't think Biggleswade were. I don't think they'll get far, but it was.
You didn't like Biggleswade, did you, Thomas? You were in my WhatsApp saying they won't go very far.
Well, no, I don't think they will. Not in the cup, and also they're a bit dirty as well. Which, like I was saying, if that's how you play and if it works, then that's fair enough. But I wasn't.
You are not making friends, Thomas.
I'm not. No. I don't mind saying it. Come at me.
Listen to him. Everyone's got this perception of you, Thomas, that you're a really nice, well-rounded to-do boy.
Yeah.
And you've dropped the hammer on Rob. You've dropped the hammer on Rich.
Yeah.
Now you're dropping a hammer on a whole football club.
Oh yeah, but to be fair to them, they did their job. It's what they needed to do. Maybe I'm being biased. Maybe I'm being biased because Woodbridge is a local team. And
shall we hear your report?
Go for it.
Thomas Higgins here at Finn Road, and it's finished Woodbridge 2, Biggleswade Rovers 2. Not much in it really. Been a decent game. First half was 2 penalties. First penalty for Woodbridge should have perhaps been a sending off for the Biggleswade Rovers defender. He perhaps went in 2-footed, but can't really tell from here. And that's genuine opinion among Woodbridge fans whether it's true or not. Second penalty for Biggleswade to bring it back 1-1. Stupid penalty giveaway. The striker was going nowhere. They brought him down in the area and it's 1-1. So 1-1 at half time. Decent second half. Woodbridge denied 3 times by the keeper. Mark Gray, honourable mention. 2 cracking shot efforts tipped away by the keeper. And then 85th minute, Woodbridge score, make it 2-1. Arguably, this shouldn't be going to pens right now, but it is because Biggleswade scored late on.
You perhaps went in 2-footed, and then a little disclaimer, like T's and C's at the bottom, really quite small. I couldn't quite see from where I was.
But the murmurs around me as well, they're 2-footed. It was kind of. It did look like it, but I wasn't 100% sure. It was definitely a penalty today.
Ben Moore, Woodbridge under new management, so should be interesting to see how they do. Talk to me about that. You've been following that development for a while now, haven't you? So what's been going on at Woodbridge in terms of management?
I think Carlos has gone. I don't really know why. I don't want to go into it because it's nothing to do with me. But it's
that's not like you, Thomas.
But no, they've changed manager, haven't they? They've got new management there. I hope he looks like he has a system. What I saw Tuesday, and I hope it works out for him. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, won't we? Also, they didn't have a game yesterday, so we couldn't really judge them on how they got on yesterday.
No.
Unfortunately.
No.
Have you got the goal from the corner?
I have. Calm down.
Okay.
Calm down. It's
Yeah, but
coming. It's coming.
Just, I love that goal.
You love that. You love that.
I don't love it. Well, I think it's partly because I just had a sense that they were going to score for some reason. I didn't really film that often during the game. I filmed the 2 penalties because something's going to happen, and I got the phone out once or twice. But I'm not really someone to film during the game. But I thought I'll film just in case.
Don't go dropping hammer on people that film during games. Don't go starting beef.
I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to.
Don't go starting beef, Thomas. We're a news show. We don't want to have beef with people.
I'm not. I'm not. I was just saying.
I'm winding you up. Ben Moore. Trimley could be interesting. Same with Henley and maybe Achilles. Trimley is where my sister lives, and Henley is the part of it where my dad lives. Okay, Trimley bit we'll discuss, not where his relations live. Trimley could be interesting. Henley, I don't know if Dan's coming on. Maybe not, but Dan was impressed with Henley. He said Henley looked decent on Friday. Game over at 2-0.
Yeah,
they could be a player this year. They were a player last year, to be fair to them, but they could be even more of a player this year, right?
Yeah, and I would like to go and see him at some point as well. I couldn't go Friday, but when there's a game that I can do, I might go up there, have a look, see how they're getting on. Good to get on the show as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in discussions with them, or I was. I don't know if it's my fault. That's my fault. I'll hold my hands up. So yes, that's my fault. I've got some goals for you. Let's go to some goals. Which one should I choose first? Let's go for the header because you wanted the header. Yeah,
I want the header. Yeah, I like the header.
Actually, before I go to the goals, let me just check into this chat room because we had some comments from Neil. He lost 4-1 yesterday playing for Redgrave, which are a team north of the border, but we'll still cover. Don't worry. We won't get the pitchforks out. He conceded early on, so not a great start. And then I said to him 4 times because he lost 4-1. He was left with 2 to mark when a cross came in, and he chose the wrong one. We've all been there as a centre half. You've got 2 men. I'd quite like to speak to Neil about this because you've got 2 men. Who do you take? Now you always take the guy nearest the goal, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing he didn't. And then his goalie came out when the ball fell to one of their players. He shot for the goal, and the keeper did a put. Oh, he handballed it outside the box and got a red. That's harsh. Unless it's blatantly like, a world-class save outside the 18-yard box and he's done a toldo. That's harsh, isn't it? At this level? At any level. But, imagine that. Starting a season with a fine. Game got really messy. Another side didn't play well against 10 men. Hang on. They won 4-1. What do you mean they didn't play well against 10 men?
It's a bit like me bringing down the hammer.
Well, I know Neil quite well, so I can do. But even if I didn't, how can you play quite well but get beat 4-1? Anyway, we have several chances to get back in the game. So there we go. We're up to date with the chat box. Let's get into this header. It's not bad. One more. Go on.
I'll tell you what. Chambers' goal yesterday was well worked corner, but that one's better.
One more time for those at the back that couldn't quite see it. Number 4 is not going to be looking back on that with much joy, is he? I mean, first of all, he's risen like a salmon. Let's have it, and found the net. Cheers, Rob Davis, for that joke. Daniel Barnard. Claydon had 1 red card, 2 years, and a 7-year-old tried to pick a fight with Dick. Oh dear. We all remember our first fight on football, don't we? And Ben Moore should have shouted other players to their job. Neil was making it sound better for him. He certainly is. That goal, you love that goal. I'm not so keen.
Are you?
No, there's just question marks. First of all, we'll play it a couple more times, right?
Go on.
First of all, the man tracking, he's not tracking well enough, right?
To get in that position, though, you can't fault that.
And my second gripe is the goalkeeper, right? Look, everyone is all about fun, but him in the shot. Honestly, when you sent me it the first time, I couldn't see the goalie at all.
No, You can't fault the goalie though, not really, because
No, Bill's right.
Woolwich had 2 or 3 chances. There were 2 or 3 chances outside the box. Ray,
Hey.
that goalkeeper made 2 or 3 great saves. He kept the Wiggles right in it, so to have one mistake.
Mate, I'm a 16-stone person sat on a Sunday morning talking about football. I got no right to talk. I'm just commenting on a goal. I know.
I'm just give the goalkeeper credit. I'm giving the goalkeeper credit because I saw the whole game, I guess, and he did have a good game. To be fair to him, one mistake, and the other one was a penalty. So
I'm a nobody. So if when I start criticizing, just stop listening, because I'm a nobody. So
I don't see any kind of opinion on that shirt on anyway. To be honest, bloody fake football, just rugby, innit?
Yeah.
Cut me off now.
Penalty shootout. Currently 3-3 each. No one's missed. Woodbridge about to take. He scored 4-3 Woodbridge. No one's missed yet, so can you make it 4-4? Yes, you can. Keeper Alfie taking the penalty. Come on. Came on 90th minute, obviously for the penalty shootout, I'm guessing. And he's put it away. Needs to put this away, make it 5-5, otherwise Woodbridge are through. Put it away. We carry on. Oh. I have to say, I haven't been that impressed with
Love it.
Temper. A bit dirty, I thought at times. But such is football. Make it 6-5. And he's put it away. I reckon we'll be here all night. Six in this penalty shootout. Put away. Definitely beginning to wonder when this is going to end now. Definitely no football's back. It's definitely chillier tonight. Chilly September evening. It's 6-6. Can you put the 7th away? No. Some big with his hands here. Score this and they're through. What's that? Woodbridge are out. Biggles Red go have a trip to face Cambridge City in the next round. Woodbridge are out. My only hope is that Framtown crawled one back against this, because last I saw they were losing 1-0, but that's that. It's all over here at Finn Road. Entertaining game, but that's that. Until next time, bye.
Well, first of all, there's some really great penalties in there. Really great penalties. The one from the keeper particularly. Mwah!
Yeah.
But I've just, as I've said before, I'm nobody to speak. But the keeper, I was saying about the goal for the header, great save at the end. Yeah. Really great save at the end. That's a good goalkeeping performance there at the end. Kept his nerve.
Like I say, he had a good game apart from the corner that I know you've only seen, but he had a good game the whole game. So
yeah.
Tonight we were definitely 3 times in their second half.
Yeah.
Twice from Mark Ray. Mark Ray had two great shots from the outside of the box. And
yeah.
Well,
as I said before,
to be fair to Woodbridge, they give it their all. Just denied at the end as well. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Was it 7-6? I think I said, didn't I?
You did, and you're right. It could have gone either way, and you can't. All you can do as a player is hit the target. He hit the target. The keeper's pulled it out of the bag with a fantastic save.
Exactly. Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And I'm not there at the game. You were. You're telling me that keeper was fantastic all night. Then I'll take your word for it, you know.
Yeah.
But a real fantastic save at the end. Neil Moles would have run with him, jumped, pushed him from the flight of the ball, and had the players cleared up behind you. And then me as a referee will come run up and go, penalty, push. Right? You can't push a player out of the way.
No.
I tell you what I loved in that video the most was the bit of mind games, and then the whole crowd and the players go, "Oh,
Yeah.
like non-leagues back, love it,
Yeah.
get it in my veins." Daniel Barnard, Stonemark's just been drawn away to Whitton United in the Suffolk Premier Cup.
Have a good game.
We should cover that one, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
We
When
really
is it?
should.
You know when it is?
No. Daniel Barnard, help me out with that one. Ben Moore, you've got to have a scrap every once in a while. Well, can't argue with that. Anyway, we're done.
I've got the draw here for the next round if you want it.
Yes, please. Fire it
FA
away.
Cup. So we've got Durham Town versus Whitton United, Ely City versus Amesbury Rovers, FC Clacton versus Hadley. That's Hadley with Hadley. Great Waken Rovers versus Brantham Athletic, Leyston versus Halstead Town, Long Melford versus Kempston Rovers, Haverhill Rovers versus Wisbeach, Bildenhall versus Corby, Royston Town versus Newmarket Town, Stamford versus Distown, Thetford Town versus Potton United, Wroxham against Gorston, and Stowmarket Town away to Yaxley.
Perfect. Long Melford. I'm looking out for that because got some good friends at Long Melford. They were unlucky yesterday with their 3-4 defeat against a strong Norwich United team who finished, obviously, I think it was second last year. So that's an interesting one.
I think it's next Saturday, yeah.
I think so. I think so. Daniel Barnard, in regards to Whitton Stowmarket, details to follow, but you would have thought that'd be a bumper crowd because Whitton are seen to be a sort of a dark horse this year. Stowmarket Town, they're the giants of the division. Yeah. Neil Moles, if you're shoulder to shoulder without your hands out, it's considered fair. It is considered fair. But if, as we close, we look back at that headed goal, if you're a defender and you do what Neil Moles is saying you do, Thomas, and you try and go with him and shoulder to shoulder him out of the way, tell me what you would think as a referee looking at the players and the way they move.
Penalty shootout.
So, if you do as Neil says there, my thinking here is the momentum of the player who scored would be too great, and his fall would look worse than it probably actually was. If you do what Neil says, yeah, even if it's shoulder to shoulder, because his momentum is going to be so quick, that even the slightest of brushes will make it look like he's, and
he's going to go down that momentum. So yeah.
So it's a tough one, isn't it, as a defender? But I can see where Neil's coming from with that. But we're done. So next week, same time, week 2, more cup games.
Yep.
Love it. We're back. We're back, baby.
Football's back.
Can you end with...
Don't Adam call it. Don't Adam call it.
No, you got to. Can you end with football's back, baby?
Okay. Football's back.